Alright, so hopefully the lighting is okay in this video. I have to sit on the floor because the lighting was bad when I was sitting on the bed facing the other way. Today I'm just going to go through what I've been doing the past 12 weeks. So I've actually been doing PT for the past 12 weeks and really consistently been going to the gym. Actually, at the time I'm recording this, it's probably been about 14/15 weeks. I will get into a little bit later, but I did have 1 week where I went away on holiday and then 1 week that I was kind of injured. The reason I wanted to create this video is pretty much just go through what I've been doing with my PT and what my goals were, what I've been focusing on. This is going to be like part 1 of I'm not sure how many parts I'm going to create of kind of my fitness journey. I think I'm just going to make them until I'm like happy with where I am, and then I can just do like small check-ins. But I took photos at the beginning, at the end of the first 4 weeks, at the end of the 8 weeks, and then also the end of the 12 weeks. I wanted to get into it first off by just going through what I had kind of told my PT what my goals were. So for the first 12 weeks I wanted to do a 12-week calorie surplus, focusing on a high protein diet to grow muscle. So that was pretty much my goal, was to kind of grow as much muscle as I can and then do exercises that would optimize muscle growth in the gym. I decided to do a 4-day split, so I'm doing 2 upper body, 2 lower body, and then for the first week we kind of just did back and chest for the 2 upper days, and then legs was just like kind of different leg exercises each day but didn't really have a core focus. And then moving on from weeks 5 to 12, the legs were glutes and hamstrings, and then glutes and quads. It wasn't like a solid split, so days that I was doing chest I still did some back exercises. It was just less back focused because it was a chest day. Same with the back day, I did do some chest exercises but it was more back focused. Same with the legs, I did some hamstring exercises when I was doing my quad day but it was more quad focused, and vice versa for hamstring day. Pretty much the goals for the week 1 to 4 was to just see where I could start from, and then also what exercises I wanted in my next program that maybe were weaknesses of mine and stuff I needed to build on. So I want to go through weeks 1 to 4, and then I also have little tables that are just comparing the weights that I'm lifting in week 1 of the program versus week 4, and I've got that for all 3 programs that I've done as well. Weeks 1 to 4, upper variation 1, so back day, I've got wide grip pull-ups, wide grip lat pull downs, cable bicep curls, seated row, dumbbell shoulder press, chest press, push-ups, tricep push down with the rope, cable lateral raise, Roman chair leg raise, weighted Russian twist, and bicycle crunches. I'm not going to mention every single exercise and the weight increase for every single exercise, but I just want to do kind of the more compound muscle movements. Special mention to some of the ones that I think that I gain a lot of strength in quite quickly. Wide grip pull-ups, so I did them assisted, 4 sets to failure. I started with having to use 33 kilos assisted, and by the end of the 4 weeks I got down to only having to use 28.5 assisted. For my wide grip lat pull downs I started pulling 19 and ended on 27.5. The seated row I started with 20 and I was able to get to 19.5. Then we've got upper variation 2, which is chest. So we've got bench press, pec fly, push-ups, close grip pull down, barbell bicep curl, single arm bent row, overhead tricep extension, dumbbell seated lateral raises, tricep push down with the V-bar, dumbbell bicep curl, plank dips, shoulder taps, and plank hold. So I guess some of my honorable mentions for weightlifting for this one was that I started with the bench press 20 and went up to 25, the pec flies at 10 and got up to 19, and then I also started the close grip pull down at 12.5 and got up to 23. I also started week 1 with push-ups on my knees. So I was doing like 12, 10, 8 push-ups, so 4 sets in my first week. And then by week 4, I was able to do 6 full banded push-ups with 7 push-ups on my knees. So then we've got lower variation 1, which was squats, incline leg press with a narrow stance, dumbbell stick deadlift, cable pull through, single leg lying leg curl, back extension rounded back, curtsy lunge, good morning squat combo, calf raises, lateral walks with a band, clamp to the band, glute bridge with a band, and sumo squat calf raise. So I guess my mentions for this one, the incline leg press, I kind of had to start with only 5 kilos each side, and then I was able to get to 10 kilos. Cable pull throughs, I started at about 12.5 kilos and I got up to 24.5. The calf raises, I started at 25 and got up to 32. Then we had our second lower variation, which was hip thrust, front foot elevated lunge, Romanian deadlifts, Bulgarian split squats, lying leg curl, leg extension, sissy squats, heels elevated kettlebell squat, dumbbell walking lunges, kettlebell swings, step ups. So for this one, I started my hip thrust at 35 and I got up to 40 in the 4th week. Bulgarian split squats I was really happy with because the first 2 weeks I wasn't actually able to do them holding any weights, and then I was able to hold a 9 kilo. For walking lunges, I started with 5 on each arm and then I got up to walking with 7s on each arm. Some exercises did have to get modified sometimes. The heels elevated kettlebell squat I didn't have in any other program because it hurt my knees. Sissy squats was in my next program, but we had to modify it because it hurt my knees. And then we also had some issues in the first week because I guess I still kind of have issues, but I have really weak wrists. So push-ups were really hard. The bench press was really hard for me because my wrists would give out kind of before anything else. So after the 4 weeks, you will start to kind of see beginner results. That kind of gave me a lot more motivation to go to the gym because I was actually noticing that I was getting stronger. There are exercises that I was not getting stronger with. Squats is a problem area for me. I have bad knees and I still, after 12 weeks, spoiler, can still only lift 30, 32 with a squat. But I will say that from week 1 to about week 8, I really was focusing on squatting with depth. My depth, I'll put a video up, but my depth at the start was so bad, was not hitting depth. So even though I was not increasing my weight, I do feel like my squats were getting better because I was actually increasing my depth and my form, so I was actually squatting a lot better. But also I was seeing results because my diet had changed. So like I said, I was focusing on a really high protein, high calorie surplus diet. So I've been having lots of protein powder, lots of protein bars, I don't really have red meat that often, so lots of chicken, lots of salmon, lots of healthy fats like avocado. The salmon has the healthy fat, lots of nuts, really to increase that protein and that fat. And I think that's what was really helping, seeing those gains quite quickly, because my diet had kind of suddenly changed. But not only had my diet changed, but also the way my body was reacting to my diet. Obviously, the more you work out, the faster your metabolism. Me kind of getting bloated after dinner, not feeling my best before I was consistently going to the gym. Even though I was eating more food after dinner, where I was still a little bit bloated, I would say, but definitely 100% better. Not feeling sick after I've eaten too much, even though I had to change my macros and stuff. I technically wasn't eating that much more food than what I was before because I hadn't been kind of monitoring what I was eating. Yeah, the going to the gym really actually helped with that. So moving on to weeks 5 and 8, we really looked at what wasn't working in my other program, what was working, what I maybe wasn't lifting, increasing my weights with, and focusing on making sure that in the new program I could at least up my weight at some point. So this is when we kind of definitely started to do more focus, in-depth focus days. So my chest days were more chest focused rather than a bit of everything, even though I still had back exercises in there. It was 1 or 2 and the rest were chest, and then vice versa, same for the other arm day, and then the 2 leg days as well. So we've got the upper variation 1, which was more chest focused. So we've got bench press, cable fly, push-ups, close grip pull down, barbell bicep curl, single arm cable pull down, cable overhead extension, Arnold press, tricep dips, bicep curls, Russian twist, dead bugs, crunches. So weight mentions for this, I went from lifting 25 to being able to do 27.5 on the bench press. My close grip pull down went from 23 kilos to 28. And then my push-ups also got a lot better, with me starting with being able to do full banded push-ups by the end of the 4 weeks. The upper variation 2, which was more back focused, we had neutral grip pull-ups, wide grip lat pull down, dumbbell hammer curl, straight bar seated row, military press, MST incline chest press machine, tricep push down push-ups, seated lateral raise, abdominal crunch, plank dips, plank hold. For the neutral grip pull-ups, I started with 31 kilo assistance and I was able to go down to 21.5. My wide grip lat pull down started at 24 and I was able to get to 28. My straight bar seated row started at 19 and I was also able to get up to 28. Again, with my push-ups, I was able to start getting around 10-12 reps in a set. Alright, so moving on to lower variation 1, which was glute and hamstring focused. We had hip thrusts, deadlifts, front elevated lunge, seated leg press high and narrow, lying leg curl, cable pull through, walking lunges, good morning squat combo, kettlebell swings, booty band clams, squat pulses, hip thrust, and I started at 50 kilos and I was able to get to 65. Deadlift started at 40, I was able to go to 45. Lying leg curls, I started at 15, was able to get to 17.5. I was also happy with my walking lunges as well, because I went up from 7 in each hand to 8 in each hand, so 14 to 16 kilos. And then we have my lower variation 2, which was quads, glutes and calves. So we had squats, hip thrusts, Bulgarian split squats, incline leg press narrow stance, leg extension, 60 squats, heels elevated squat, calf raise, curtsy lunge squat combo, sumo squat calf raise, and lateral walks. Squats again stayed at 30, but I really tried to focus on my depth for these 4 weeks, making sure my form was correct and I was hitting, you don't want to be doing half a squat at 100 kilos and then saying that you can do a squat when you can't if you're not getting past your knees, if that makes sense. Hip thrust again went from 50 to 65. All right, so that was weeks 5 to 8, which again I just saw so much more improvement, so much more muscle gain, really trying to focus on the areas that were weaknesses. But again, everything in my diet was the same, still in a calorie surplus for all of these programs. Weeks 4 and 5, I realized that I absolutely 100% would prefer to train arms than legs. I'm just realizing how much stronger my arms are than I give them credit for, because never in my life would I think that I could lift what I can with my chest. I always thought that I was just going to be super weak and not be able to do any of that. Let's move on to the final program. So this was week 8 to 12. Now I will say in week 11, which was when I went on holiday, you guys would have seen, I'll link that video up here if you want to watch it. It's a really fun video. But I went on holiday and I didn't have access to the gym, but I did, however, do some kind of at-home training. I'll put some clips up here, but it just like unfortunately wasn't what it could have been if I had access to the gym. It's really hard to like lose all of your progress in a week, especially if you are doing at least some lifting like what I was doing. But it was still a bit annoying that like I couldn't continue to lift as much as I had been in that week. And then in week 12 I went back to the gym after my holiday and maybe didn't lower my weights a little bit, considering I'd kind of had a week off. So I went in, I actually lifted some weights exactly the same and some weights even more than what I'd been lifting before I went on holiday, and really strained up my biceps. I could not straighten my arm whatsoever, and that was the second day that I had gone to the gym. So I unfortunately couldn't work out for the rest of that week. So then I kind of technically did go to the gym in those 2 weeks, or did do exercise in those 2 weeks, but I didn't count them. So my weeks 8 to 12 was actually like weeks 8 to 14, because I kind of had like that 2 week break. Okay, and then so for this program we had a couple different exercises where the set layout was a little bit different. So instead of doing, for the whole program, instead of doing 4 sets, we moved down to 3 sets. So that meant that I could lift a little bit heavier for each set, because I only had to do 3 and I didn't get as tired like having to try and push through to be able to do 4. I loved going down from 4 to 3, but some exercises and kind of the main exercise of the day, we did 3 sets of a specific number and then 1 set to failure, and that would either, depending on the exercise, be a weight decrease or increase to see how many I could do. And for this program, because I had expressed how weak my wrists are, we actually added warm-up exercises to the back and chest days. So I had to do 2 sets of 12 reps of band rotations, then I had to do 2 sets of 12 reps of wrist curls with my palms facing up, and then again with my palms facing down. But for back, we had wide grip assisted pull-ups, wide grip lat pull down, cable bicep curl, isolated lateral single arm row, dumbbell bent over row, dumbbell lateral raise, incline chest press machine, cable low chest fly, dumbbell standing shoulder press, barbell bicep curl, plank dips, plank hold. So with the wide grip assisted pull-ups, we did 3 sets of 12 at normal weight. So I started at 24, and then 1 times failure set with a decreased weight assistance. So I went down to 21.5 kilos weight assistance and was able to do 5 reps. Then I actually, by the week 4, was able to do the 21.5 as my normal 3 sets, and then my decreased weight set was only at 19 kilos and I was able to do 6 reps. We also had the isolated lateral single arm row. I started with 10s on each arm, so 20 kilos, was able to go up to 15 each arm, so 30 kilos. And then for my lat pull down, I was able to go from 26 to 28. Alright, so then for the chest day, we had bench press, dumbbell bench press, dumbbell overhead extension, lateral pull down, dumbbell hammer curl, straight arm cable pull down, dumbbell shoulder press, push-ups, rear delt fly, tricep push down, abdominal crunch, cable crunch with the rope, and leg raises. For my kind of mix up set, we did it with the bench press. So it was 3 times 10 plus 1 set to failure with an increased weight. So I started at 27.5 for my sets and was able to do 8 reps of 30 as my increased weight set. And then I was actually able to move from my increased weight moved to my full set. So I was able to do the 3 times 10 at 30 kilos and then 32.5 for 5 reps for my increased weight set. I have no doubt that I'm going to be able to do 32.5 for my full sets, like at the end of the program that I'm doing now. My goal is 60. My goal is to be able to lift like myself. We shall see. Straight arm, I went from 12.5 to 14 kilos. And then my push-ups, I only had my push-ups in my chest day, not in my back day for this program, whereas my other ones I'd had them for both. Very excited, went from 10 band assisted push-ups to being able to do 10 full push-ups by myself, no band assistance. Right then, lower variation 1, so pretty sure this would be glute and quad. So I had squats, hip thrusts, Bulgarian split squats, incline leg press, narrow stance, dumbbell RDL, leg extensions, Smith machine reverse lunge, and then Smith machine standing calf raises, cable glute pushback, curtsy lunge sumo squat, banded lateral walks. So I had my squats as my mixed set this day. So I had 3 times 10 plus 1 times failure with the increased weight. Yeah, in week 1 I did the 3 times 10 at 30, and then I did 35 kilos for 4 reps. And then in week 4, it's going to look like I went down, but I would say that this is better than the other one. So I did the same 3 times 10 at 30, and then my increased weight was 32.5, which was less than week 1, but I was able to do 6 reps instead of 4. This was also after I'd just come back from my holiday plus my week of injury, so that's kind of why it was a little bit less. So then my hip thrusts went from 70 to 75, dumbbell RDLs went from 28, so 14 kilos in each hand, to 32, 16 kilos in each hand. And then last but not least, we had lower variation 2, which would have been glutes and hamstrings. So we had B stance, hip thrust, stiff leg deadlift, front elevated lunge, incline leg press, lying leg curl, cable pull through, dumbbell front sumo squat, walking lunges, step ups, booty band sumo squats, booty band clams, and Swiss ball hamstring curls. B stance, hip thrust, I went from 40 to 45. Then I also had my stiff leg deadlift, which was my mix-up set. So we had 3 times 12 plus 1 times failure weight increase. So I had 40 as my 3 times 12 in week 1, and then 45 and 6 reps for my failure set. And then in week 4, I did the same 40 for the 3 times 12. And then I did 50 kilos as my weight increase for 7 reps in week 4. That's kind of like my little progress videos. That's kind of all the exercises that I had done in the past 12 to 14 weeks. But yeah, this isn't going to be the last video like this. I am definitely going to be doing the same kind of thing for my new program, which I started on Monday. I am now in my calorie deficit, so I've started my cut. So I'm going to be tracking my progress through that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, as well as liking and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.